Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Claxton, and along with me, as always, is our dearly defeated Deka doll, Bethany Mitchell. Do you know how long I've been waiting for this?
Did you plan that name also
2 weeks.
before?
Last week, if you listen, so last week, Bethany did like an intelligent, insightful, thought-induced, proper show. There'll be less of that this week.
You gotta do it once in a while.
Yeah. Oh no, it was great. It's actually got a lot of people. Harry Adams thought it was specifically just for her, so that was great. So that's cool. It was good, but it was really well done, and a lot of people liked it. But enough of that. People don't want intelligent stuff. People want stupidity, and that's where I shine. No, so yes, the name obviously we had, and to start off, I'm gonna wear my smug face. 90% of you were wrong.
Mhm.
Nobody
Yeah.
had faith in me. And actually, on that vote, too, one of the votes for me was me and my wife and
It's
Carrie
so
Adams.
funny because my strength is definitely not Deka strong.
It's not about you, it's about me. It's a lack of faith in me more so than a belief in your ability, just a lack of faith in mine. Well, for those of you who aren't paying attention, I'm actually not that bad.
No.
So yeah, I did win our little battle, which was great,
Mhm.
but it was a good battle and it was a lot of fun. And I think,
Yeah.
and you can ask, because Ryan Kent was my judge, and I had Bubbles with me as well. And Bubbles said to me after, he goes, I saw you peeking over all the time. Like I constantly had this awareness of where you were at. I think it was more aware of where you were at than where I was at.
Oh, really? Well, and actually, where you were at, I lost complete count of my tank because I was counting yours. I was like, I swear I'm done. I have to be done.
No, I was like, I need.
I know Riley was my judge. She's like, "You're not done." I'm like, "No."
That was my plan, and so I planted my wife as your judge to give me a shot. No, I was like, because in my head, I was like, I need 30-second lead at least going to the burpees.
I know. Yeah.
And
After
then,
the bike, I tried to cane on you.
yeah, and you did. You
Yeah.
did.
Mm.
But yeah, so it was good. It was good. And you know what? Amber, Zach at Pure Impact, you guys did amazing job. It was great. It was an
Mhm.
awesome event. A lot of competition and really some really good athletes there. And Amber and Zach as well. Like both beat us both somehow. I'm not sure how this worked. He beat me by 3 seconds, and she beat you by 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
shady going on
Oh,
there. Totally.
yeah.
Hometown
Can't
advantage,
beat
I
him
think.
by too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 seconds seems right.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great. And then and of course Kevin Gregory went for the record, came a little shy. I'm gonna put that up to bad judging. Because well, I was his judge, so there you go. I'll take blame for that. What else happened there? We did so okay. It doesn't show on the board, but we did the first ever Deca Strong
Yeah.
Relay.
Yeah.
And so unofficially we set a record, but it wasn't
We
official
did. Yeah.
because we forgot to officially register. So it didn't count.
Yeah.
And it got beat anyway. So it didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. So we kind of had it for maybe like an hour
Exactly.
unofficially.
I think it was more like
Mm.
3 hours, you know.
Three
But
hours.
yes, 3 hours, which was not as
Mhm.
long as my Canadian men's Deca record, which lasted until this event, which was like
Mhm.
one after I went again. So I had two. So I had it twice. I beat my own record, and then my record got beat. And then Kevin Gregory just smashed it and made us all look stupid. So damn you,
Mm.
Kevin. But it
Records are
was
meant to be broken.
that's right. But it was a great time. And they did a really good job. They did fall behind on time a little bit, but then they made it back up. And I think it was
Hmm.
partly because they did do some stuff like they had you and I go out as like a big head-to-head thing, and Amber and Zach, husband and wife, go against each other. Then they had a big cleared the road and let Kevin make a really good run at it. So that was good. And then yeah, so they did a lot of stuff and they had a lot going on. So they fell behind a little bit, but then I think by the end they ended up like a half hour behind schedule by the end, which is
Hmm.
really pretty good for a first time event. And it's really good
Yeah.
for any event. I mean, if you've been to a ninja competition, you've probably seen those go behind hours. Or
Yeah.
CRWC, we did that. We were way behind on that when we did that wave too. But it
Yeah.
happens. And I thought they did a really good job. And
Hmm.
like I said, hats off, Zach, Amber. Um, Other person I wanted to mention from there, a couple people anyway. Nicole, and my Lord, I'm forgetting Nicole's last name right now, but
Kelly.
Nicole Kelly,
Hmm.
she PR'd by almost 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, that was just awesome. And I've had the privilege to be her judge both times. And I mean, just very emotional. It was
Mhm.
unreal. Like she's so proud and she should be. And just is one of those great Deka stories. That's
Yeah. And Nicole's story, we've chatted a little bit since, so we met at the first one, the first Deca last in the fall. And it's one of those stories where, of, the mental health struggles, and then you kind of found sport, and it just has the power to completely transform people's lives. And it's one of those things where I think sometimes we forget because we're just so in this world. And I mean, and we do it competitively, and we think about it every day, and we're training every day. But people, when they start and they come in it for those kind of reasons, it really does change people. And it also has the power to help with mental health issues. And, when you get to hear people's stories like that, this is new for them, or, maybe they were the bigger kid in high school, and, now they've kind of found something, because it's kind of a fringe sport in that way. Most people in our generation, we didn't grow up with this. So, we weren't someone might not have been good at traditional sports, so they kind of find their place. But yeah, it's kind of powerful when you hear people's stories like Nicole. So she did her first one in the fall at Farm Girl, and has taken a minute off of her, sorry, 10 minutes off her time almost. So yeah, and her friend as well. So they've been working together, and they've just done some really incredible things. So it's so inspiring to see stories like that.
yeah, they are really awesome people. And it was just there's so much fun to be around just to see and to see how
Yeah.
happy she was and how happy he was for her and all this stuff. And
Mhm.
it was great. It just was one of those great stories from there. And
Yeah.
it is go back to that, Deca for everybody kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it's great fun. And then a couple other people I want to mention. My buddy Sam Best, he came out and did his first one and did a great job. And two of our clients, so you gotta, pump the tires there a little bit. Susan Rice, and she cut down her time from Farm Girl by about 3 minutes, which was amazing. So she did really good. And her husband, well, we'll call husband, John Cross, good friend and a client of ours, he dropped from like an 18 something to a 15:30
Hmm.
and has put himself in third on the global leaderboard for his age group.
Yeah.
So he did a
Super impressive.
15:30 and John is 58 years old. I
Mhm.
mean, just smashed it. And you know what? I thought, to be honest, he conked out a little bit on the burpees and took a few breaks. I mean, I think had he not done that, he could have been sub 15. Like
Mhm.
that's how big of an improvement he had. It was just awesome to see. So congrats to all of them. They were great. And everybody else that came out there. It was good to see a lot of OCR faces and a full house and just
Mhm.
constantly. It was a great event. So can't wait for the
Mhm.
next one. Can't wait for our next what's the next one for us is actually
Farm
which one's
Girl.
on the docket next? February is Farm Girl, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, Farm Girl coming up. So that would be good. That's a 2-dayer. I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to that one. And of course, we have the SO Fitness.
Mhm. Yes, I think
That's
it's,
the
yeah.
official name, SO Fitness. We got them coming up. And of course,
Yeah.
the the mile at the mall.
A mile at the mall. I'm so pumped. So we're in a small town in Strathroy, and because of that. And like I grew up in this small town, so that there's so many connections. And so there's been people like who want to volunteer and like help out too, and who kind of offered their services. And so like we have photographers, we have videographers, like Starbucks is donating a bunch of stuff, like just local businesses. Athletic Brewing is sponsoring them. So in the mall there's also there's a pub in there, and so they're offering discounts to all of the athletes when you show your medal. Like, so there's just all these. It's the cool thing about like small towns is people kind of rally around these things. So yeah, it's going to be a really awesome event. I'm so excited.
Do you know Jay Fit? So Jay, he's kind of big in High Rocks. He's got a YouTube channel. Anyway,
No.
he's big in High Rocks. He's got a YouTube channel. He's from the UK. He's come to his senses and he's realized he should marry a Canadian girl from Oakville and move to Canada. So, you know, good for him. And I told him, I was talking with him earlier today, and I said he should come out to your event. And he's like, he says, damn it, because he's like, he was supposed to be out here actually at that time, visiting his fiance, but they had decided to go to Florida for that time instead of being here. And he also said, it's funny too, because he was out here for Farm Girl. And he had to leave, that his flight was booked that day. He had to head back, so he couldn't come out and do the race. So I thanked him, because he probably would have beat me. So it worked out well for everybody, but it would have been kind of very cool to have him over there. That would have been quite a thing, because he's a fit dude, and I'd look forward to having him in the area doing, you know, part of the scene here, part of the hybrid scene, as we would call it.
Yeah. Oh, and sorry, we did just open up. We are also doing team relays. So we've opened up 2 hours of team relays after, which again, this will be the first time it's been done. And I think it's going to be even more exciting with the mile, because you have the running segments too, but it's going to be a blast.
So are you sold out for the individuals officially?
So when I checked yesterday, there was like 3 spots left. So I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because we opened up a couple more and then added in the team stuff after.
All right. Team stuff is very cool. So I've been like thinking, because when we did our team for the strong, I was like, we didn't do the best strategy, and we could have changed some things up again. But then I was thinking about the one for the mile, and it's even harder, I think, to come up with a good strategy for that one.
Yeah, it'll be different.
I'm like, look, it's a whole new aspect. Explain how we do the running.
Does anybody have to run together?
No. So yeah, explain how the relay works.
So you have to run together the first one.
Okay.
And you run together before the burpees. That's my understanding. They haven't actually posted the official rule book, but I'm assuming it's exactly like the Deka Fit. Where you run together the first and you run together the last.
Oh, there could be some good elbowing going on there.
Oh yeah, because you're going so fast at the beginning.
Yeah. Have you figured out the whole layout yet?
Yeah. So because the mall is 100 meters long, so we have enough space on the far side. So we're gonna put all the equipment just in a line on the far side. But the start line then ends up being right at station 5, and then it's always down and back from there.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. That's good. I'm excited for it. I need to get a leaderboard time. I got bumped down a little bit. I'm sitting 9th in age.
For the strong or the mile?
For the strong. Well, the mile and here, we could be accused of being like Deka homers, obviously, and we say a lot of good things about it. But here's something I don't like that they did. So when we were at World Championships, we both ran the mile and open, right? We ran the relay in the championship events. One of us won, one of us did not. And then we ran the mile and the open and put up, for me, I put up what I thought was okay time. I know I can do better, but really it was actually a better time than I expected on the day, and would have had me sitting in a qualification spot or close to it. But that time counts for nothing. So it didn't count towards 2022. It doesn't count towards 2023. And it wasn't part of the championship event because it was an open wave. So I'm like, it kind of didn't count for anything. I'm like, well, that one should technically, in my mind, have counted. And everybody else's, obviously, who ran the open should have counted towards their 2023 times, because it was after the date for 2022's. and it did not apply to it wasn't an actual championship race. So I don't understand
Well,
why. And I've
at
mentioned
my
it to you.
time, yeah, if I was in the championship race for the mile, I would have been fifth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we put
Mhm.
up good times.
Yeah.
That probably would have helped qualify for 2023, but they don't count for some reason. I still think, and I've talked to Yancey about it briefly. I sent him a message and he's like, well, kind of explain the scenario. So I haven't had time to really, you know, negotiate as I'd like to do. Because I still think nobody's harmed by counting those times, right? So I know you can't change rules mid-season for some things, but for something like this, it's not a case where it would harm anything or whatever. It should be applied, I thought. Because I mean, if I raced the day before at a decamile, that would count, or the day after at a decamile, that would count. But that particular day does not.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just yeah. There you go. Criticism. Take that.
I was probably honestly a bit of an oversight, I think.
I think so. I think so. And but I do think it's also not too late to fix that because it takes nothing to just say, oh, you know what? Yep, let's plug those times in and away they go. Because I
Mhm.
think a lot of people worked really hard there and they did, that maybe that was the only one they're going to get to go to, right? So I think it should
Mhm.
count. Um, moving along, I do have Deka news, and we're going to talk a lot of high rocks later on. Actually, the whole point of the show was supposed to be high rocks, so we're doing a really shit job so far. So I got this news. And this was just beforehand. I wasn't even sure until about an hour ago I'd be allowed to say it. But uh, over in Deka, Europe, right, which is essentially Spain, which seems to be the predominant location, they've announced a bunch of Deka fits are going to go on over there and all this stuff. And I was on another podcast, which will be released a day before you listen to this, if all goes right, or I may have to delay this or edit it out, one or the other. Um, what's happening is Spain has put together a lot, and they seem to be like they are investing money into this. They're booking some like full blown like stadiums to hold Decas in. They're going to do the 3-lap format, which we can talk about thing there, so that it'll fit in a smaller stadium, and so that they can do the trifecta in one day. Because if you do the 3 laps, you don't have to change any setup to do the mile. You're just doing one lap instead of three. So like that. So anyway, that's one thing. They're putting out big events, and they got good sponsorship going. They say they're going to put up a really good live stream and do a whole bunch of stuff. That's all big and great news. But then they popped up with this one that they want to do a bit of and have you ever heard of the Ryder Cup in golf?
No.
You never hear of anything if it's not track and field. Jesus. By the way, tangent, I heard today that the women's relay team won gold at some World Cup event in track.
Like the Canadian woman?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just saying. I saw it. I saw it on like a news blurb somewhere. Anyway,
like an indoor track meet,
yeah.
probably.
Fact check me on that. I could be totally wrong and I may have dreamt it. But anyway, so they want a Ryder Cup is essentially teams representing different nations, right? They do it in golf. They'll put like teams together and they'll have a golf competition where I don't know how many players from each nation are on there. They want to do that for Deka, where they want to have a North American team come over and compete against a European team. And it'll be like an invitational where they'll have, they'll invite someone, probably me, to make a North American team. That's just kind of a joke. It may or may not be true. But where they make a North American team and they go over and they compete in Spain at one of their big, nice venues they're setting up against a European team. And I believe it will be through all three distances or all three distances in one day. And I don't know how the point structure work. I don't know a lot of the details like that. But essentially, they bring, like I said, North Americans over to compete head to head against the European in like a Ryder Cup style. They don't know what to call it, a Deka Cup thing, hemisphere versus hemisphere, head to head, and in a big elaborate show. And so my first question I had, obviously, when Ben told this is, how are you going to get the North Americans to come over? Because that's an expensive trip. And let's be honest, like, it'll come down to a fact of really matter who will go as opposed to sending the best. And
Yeah.
apparently,
Which then,
go
if
ahead,
they're offering prize money.
they're going to pay to bring them over
Ooh.
and prize money. So apparently that's the kind of money they're going to show. They're going to bring over, offer to fly and stay a North American team over in Spain to take part in this event.
6 men, 6 women.
6 men, 6 women.
Oh, wow. So how do you get on the team?
We don't know yet. Like I said, it's an invitational. So they're going to have to figure out exactly how they're going to do that. I'm sure they don't know if they're going to select a team captain to pick the team, if they're going to make a panel of people to select the team. If I'm just going to do it, they don't really know yet. So yeah, it's still up in the air in the process, but they do. And by the way, if you haven't listened to it, check out the Fitness Racing podcast. That's with Ian K. And this is where you can see this interview as well. And that dude seems to have his stuff together, man. Like they're putting into it to grow it. They're definitely putting in the money to try to grow the sport. So it's great to see, and hopefully it becomes an example for worldwide as to what to do. So hopefully it's big success. So yeah, thoughts?
Oh, that sounds super exciting. Each person has to race all three?
I think so. I think again the details were not all there, but even like, and that's what I was saying with selecting the team, because we got talking a little bit after I was talking with Ryan. It's like going through my head, like, so does everyone run every distance, or do you got like 2 per distance, which I kind of think might be.
Well, because now you're not going to get the best of the Deka strong if they also are someone who has to be able to race the mile. The fit. Like when you saw the group there was only a couple people like Alandra Green, Tara Jackson, like who were in all three.
Yeah, and at the top at all three. Yeah. So it might be a scenario where maybe it's a scenario where you need 2 for the strong, 2 for the mile, 2 for the fit, right? Or whatever the case may be, something along the lines of that, which I think actually is probably the way to go, because if you're doing all 3 in the one day, like, you do your fit, you do your mile, and then you do your strong, you're not going to have your best times. And definitely let's say, for example, let's say we got Rich Ryan, he's your fit champion, he wins that one, or, he runs that, and then maybe he runs the mile too. And then do you think he's going to beat Ryan Corning at the mile then, or at the strong then? Probably not, right? So,
right. And then you might have and then someone like a Ryan Corning, if he goes, he might just completely slack off in the one, so that he can put all his eggs into the one basket.
And a lot will have to do with the point systems and stuff like that. So there's definitely some rules to knock out that we didn't get time to chat out, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll get some more of that. But yeah, as a concept, it's neat. My thing was, more than any of it, was just the fact that they're saying they're willing to invest to grow the sport, and they're willing to take some chances to put it out there, and hopefully it pays off, because I think that'd be really awesome.
Yeah, I think that sounds super exciting.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about then High Rock Chicago. Because I know we haven't talked about that.
No.
So getting ready for High Rock Chicago on not personal levels. So just as with the competition coming in, I'll be straight up, I do not have a finished list of who all is going to be there. And I don't think anyone does.
Really?
I've been asking around. The athletes don't seem to know. I've gotten no response from Mintra, which is unusual. Mintra is usually very good about replying. I've even tried with High Rocks America to get from them. I've got nothing. Like I said, talk to athletes. They don't know. Talk to Jack Bauer, who always seems to know entry list. He doesn't have it. So, come on.
So, and as far as we know, they never topped up the number 15, right? So we'll have 12 or 13 athletes.
Well, so yeah, we had that list that got leaked out before. So start with the men. It was like 13 men that were supposed to have committed. And then I heard going back that now they were re-asking some of them, like Michael Sandbach and Tobias, and some ones that hadn't said yes. So maybe they are now, which I don't really like, because again, there was supposed to be a cutoff. They didn't make it. And again, the list I have is unofficial, and this might cause waves, but who the fuck cares? There's a guy on the list that is not in the top 30.
Oh.
So I'm hoping that's a mistake because of what's been said before. but yeah, not in the top 30. Could be 31, 32, could be somewhere. I mean, he's close, but he's not there. And anyway, there's all that schmozzle about it. I really hate for that because I think it's going to be a great race and I think it's going to be an awesome time. And this kind of casts a bit of a cloud on it. But these are some names that I do know that will be there, or that we think we know. So we got Dylan Scott. We know is going to be there.
Yeah.
Dylan right now, top American time, having great going. Florian Gast, who ended up 5th in the European Championship, really proved he belonged. Put in a great race. Awesome. I didn't know a lot about him, and he looked good. Jonathan Wynn, who also was in the European race. Alex Ronkovic, winner of the European race. I mean, he's come over to America a bunch of times, or at least multiple times. Always makes a good showing of himself. Tim Vinik. Sorry, Tim. Tim is great. David Magida, well, he was over the European. Jose Salama. No, I don't know him, but anyway, I'm sure he's great. Patrick Grew, he was in the European. Ryan Kent, we're pretty familiar with that guy. Stefan Blecken, Jordan Bryant, Colin Stiefer. I think it's a really blurry list too. It's what happens when you get pirated lists. And Alphonse Derouz. So yeah, that's the guy that is in the list of the top 30. But this list was not an official list. This did get out, and it could be wrong. I do wish they would give us a proper one because I'd love to talk about the proper list. But
yeah,
that's what we have for the men. For the women, Meg Jacoby, Linda Muir, which I don't know Linda's health situation yet. I don't know if she's coming over still or not. Tara Jackson, Viola Oberlander. I am so excited to meet Viola. I've chatted with Viola a few times and we've wanted to interview, but she's always been worried that her English isn't quite great. And I'm just like, so that'd be something I'm shooting for, is to get an interview while we're there with Viola, because I think she's fantastic. Lauren Weeks, perhaps you've heard of her. Alundra Greenlee, Cole Felicity, Dr. Alundra Greenlee, Cole Felicity, Camilla Massa, so it'd be nice to see her out there. Vivian Tafuto as well, one of our favorites. Bridget Brown, same deal. Christopher Glasky, great having her back out there, and Eva Jensen. So, and that's all. There's only 12 women there. So hopefully, again, they filled the field. We said this before. I think it's pretty unanimous everywhere. Don't stop at 30, fill the field.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like the people who are in 31st are not going to be that much slower than the people in 30th, and they're not going to taint the competition. It's just going to be better.
Yeah.
So yeah, of that list, I'm very excited because I know Ryan Kent is super motivated and has something to prove. And although I believe, there's a lot of good races on it. Alex Ronkovic is a real deal. Tim is awesome. We know Dylan Scott's fantastic. You can't count out Megiddo. Like, there's some, and like I said, that Florian Gast, he really put on a good show. You can't count any of those guys out. It's going to be a great race, and the top 3 get to go through. You could have a very different top 3 than the European one. I mean, theoretically, you could have a Kent, Dylan, Megiddo top 3 on this one. You don't know, but I don't actually expect that as my podium, but whatever.
Potentially,
it could potentially be, right? But I'm excited for that. I do think it still bugs me about this whole mix-up thing with, not mix-up, the system. I don't like this system. I don't like that Lauren Weeks is European champion. And I do know, as Mintra said, it's more of an open. It was just a championship located in Europe, an open championship located in Europe. Totally understand the concept, and it's great. I just don't like it. I would. The Europeans didn't like it. Yeah, and I don't think they liked it either. I think they would have preferred it, having, so that would have had Michaela. would have
Yeah.
won, and Miriam von Rohr would have been on there on the podium.
Well, I saw some posts after about how Michaela was the first European. And so like she was celebrated for that, for being the first European at the European Championships. So then I'm like, well, then we need to stop calling it the European Championships. If like call it,
Mhm.
the European Open or something like,
Yeah.
because I mean, if that's what they wanted to celebrate, then so one way or the other, you're right. Don't bring over North Americans and have a European Championship. But if you're gonna focus on celebrating the first European, then I mean,
Well, and here's the thing too, like we can theory. So there's going to be three big races: it's European, the U.S., and the Worlds.
yeah,
Theoretically, they could all be the exact same race.
yeah, yeah,
And that's like, I don't want to, like, I mean, yeah, I'll enjoy that. But, if I'm a casual observer, I'm like, oh, I watch the European Championships. Oh, I watch the US ones. Same. Oh, and then the Worlds. Oh, it's the same race. Nobody's different. It's the exact same
yeah.
people.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I wanted to see the diversion. And I still think it should be, I do believe there'll be changes next year. I don't know how far they'll go, but I believe there will be some changes. And hopefully in a different direction a little bit.
So, well, the championships this weekend, we are missing some big names on the women's side for sure that were at the last one too.
So who are you calling that we're missing there? Or
Well, I
who's
didn't see Michaela or Miriam.
now they probably they would have had a chance, but they would have opted not to come
Uh-huh.
because they're right up there on the list, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely did. The reason I say the one in the European was probably going to be especially the women's championship in European and Europe, I believe will be a carbon copy of the world championships because and I'm not trying to take away anything from Vivian, Bridget, or Camilla because any one of those three women could end up putting in a better time or taking a podium at the US and changing things up a bit. But pretty much that field you saw at the Women's European Championship, I think will be the exact same field you see at the World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Unless one of those women's, again, Chris, Vivian, Bridget, Camilla, and the ones I know, and I'm sure there's the equivalent in Europe, goes out there and finds a fast course and pops a good time.
Yeah.
And the reason I lean less towards the North American women getting a chance to do that is because there's so many fewer races here. And in a general rule, we seem to have slower courses.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I think there. So that takes away just a little bit from my excitement for Worlds, thinking I saw that race last week or 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Only the outcome is going to be different.
Yeah. It could be different. It could be different. There was a lot of stuff that happened there, obviously, with Meg's extra lap and her math abilities and Miriam's extraordinary shoe tying abilities. Because I think she had her shoe tied so well the first time that when it came off, it was so hard to untie and then retie. Yeah, I think let's say take away those things happen. I think it's still Lauren, Meg, Michaela, Miriam. I think that's the way it shakes out. But I think Miriam is hot on the tail. Like she's right there.
Yeah, she is.
And so it would have been a bit of a different race. Nobody was touching Lauren that day. It was just her day. But yeah. So I'll talk about Lauren a bit. If you're Lauren going into this race, right? You're home and cooled. You're set. Now there is some prize money on the line. Are you in go for it mode? Are you checkers or wreckers? Win it and get the cash or blow myself on the process, which kind of is what Lauren does all the time anyway.
I think Lauren kind of races the same way no matter what. She goes until she can't. And I mean, I think with the other ladies too, they know this is how Lauren races. And I think they also realize you can't give Lauren a gap, especially like you have to stay with her. So if she has a gap coming out of those sleds, I don't think you're catching Lauren Weeks. So the other ladies know that also. And I think you're gonna see some ladies that are gonna push themselves to stay with her because she'll go out hot. I've never seen her not. Even 8 months pregnant.
Yeah, she did. She led the field coming in the first lap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meg and Lauren are going out like gangbusters.
Yeah.
I don't see like I don't see anyone on that list. Maybe Alondra might try to stay near him on the first, but I think Alondra would be smarter to back off a bit. Vivian, she's more of a come back at the
Yeah.
end, hit the power stations.
Viola can run though too, so
Yeah, Viola and Chris.
yeah,
Although when you think of Chris winning her championship, she came back later. She was
she
the
did.
second half. It was
Yeah,
she. Yeah, it looked like the running on the second half. Bridget can run,
yeah.
but
And Tara Jackson too, she can hold pace with it's just not how she likes to
yeah,
race.
she's not going to do that though. I think Tara needs to. She needs to kind of stay in that striking. Like she learned with Deka when Lauren got her at Deka in in Florida there. She let her get too far away.
Hmm.
This time she's got to stay. And she learned when she did Deka at Worlds, I got to stay a little bit closer, but at the same time not blow myself up. And she's got to find that pace with High Rocks in the same sort of way.
Hmm.
She's sitting in an interesting position. She's decent for time, but
Hmm.
not 100% safe.
Yeah.
So how hard does she have to push for that podium?
Yeah, like so she still has to take I mean, if these girls run similar times, then
Mhm.
Tara has to still take a couple minutes off of her personal best. So that's a
Now,
pretty big push, but everything depends on the course.
but again, I look at it this way. If you look at the times, I think in my head, most of the European women who are going to be up there are already there because they've had so many chances already this year.
Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
don't see potentially someone new jumping in and knocking people off. And I'm not exactly sure um where Tara sits, but I think it's probably somewhere between that 5 to 10 spot.
Yeah.
I think she's probably good on time, but I know it was
Mhm.
definitely in her head. She's probably thinking I might be good, but I need to lock it in because there are still so many events. Um,
Yeah.
I think she'll be all right though. But someone like Chris, Chris, Vivian, Camilla, they need a podium because their chances to qualifying times are slim. They don't have as many events to jump on like the Europeans. How many more events are qualifying in the States? Like three, two?
Before Worlds?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know.
it's not many. It's three or
No.
two or three.
Yeah.
And hold on, sorry, and Florida, Miami.
Right. The beach one. That's not
Why?
where you're going. That's not where you're going if you want to run fast.
No, why? Why? And then it's actually Hyrex had a little Q&A, and it was a nice post Q&A about Miami. One of the questions, is it a world qualifier? Yes. Why? Who cares? Like, who is gonna run one? I don't like the concept anyway, because the whole concept of running on the beach, then trying to pull a sled on a carpet that's going to be full of grit and sand and yuck and gross. And I don't think this is a great idea. I didn't think the New York outside one was a great idea, and it was a better idea than this. But I get it, sun, cool, destiny, but it's just no, it doesn't mix, it doesn't work. Just not good. Yeah, why would you have it be a qualifier? Because I mean, I guess it's no harm to have it as a qualifier, but it's not like
Well,
anybody's going to get
exactly. Like
time
if
there.
someone happens to pull out a crazy fast time and they qualify, then so be it. It's just if I was looking at locations to try to run a fast time, I'm not going to one where I'm racing on the sand.
No, like that's and they say hard pack sand is what they're looking for, but on Miami, there's not a lot of hard pack sand in Miami.
You
That's
think they're
that's
going to be running in soft sand?
probably it won't be great. I mean, remember Hildervat?
Oh, that's awful.
Remember Hildervat where they're like zigzagging around trying to find better sand to run on? It's like,
Yeah, and running past like beachgoers.
yep, yeah. Well, hopefully High Rocks has done that. I mean, hopefully they've rented out an area, which would be really nice. But and again,
Uh-huh.
it's not going to be a nice perfect course lapped around either, right? Like it's going to be some
Zigzags and
odd zigzag thing going on. So there'll be no fast times out of Miami. But I question that one because I think just a regular Miami High Rocks would be awesome, and I think the the fan base would prefer just another proper High Rocks where they could qualify, where they could put in a proper time, a proper race, rather than. And I hesitate to use word gimmicky beach thing. I'd have one of those in Europe where where they can spare a race for a funsy thing. We don't have enough races to do that. We need more proper ones.
mhm.
So, um, going with the guys. Like we said again, much like the women, this is obviously huge for Kent.
Yeah.
Because again, he doesn't really have time. Like he would have to see if he doesn't podium here, he has to seek out and try to find a fast course to try to
Mhm.
put in a time. And I mean, that's the situation Rich Ryan is in right now, where he's trying to figure out, do I go overseas and hope that's a fast one? Do I hit one of the ones here and hope that's a fast one? What do I do? So, yeah, how important is this to Kent then?
Yeah, I mean, and he's fit right now, and he's stated he's going for the win here. So, his plan is to secure his spot at this race.
Yeah. And looking at, I sent you the map. What did you think of the map?
Oh my goodness, these maps stress me out. Like, okay, one, and then okay, there's two. And oh, wait. Two and three are usually side by side, but then I'm like, where's four? And then, like when you do a high rock, sometimes it's like that. Like when you have race brain or it's like you're not following a nice circle, you forget sometimes where you are or where you're going. So I've never seen a high rocks map repeated itself. And
Oh,
so they've done Chicago now. This will be the third time in Chicago, and I don't know why they're doing something different again.
who knows? But it's like I looked at it and it looked like it was again, I'm a little bit baffled by it always. And I'm just like, and it does go back to the whole thing. I'm like, how can you have time be a qualifier when you need to release a map each time?
Mhm. So I don't understand why at this point they don't have a standard setup and then so the dimensions are this. So when we're looking for venues, we need a venue where we can have this dimensions and that's the rock zone and it's consistent. I don't know why I feel like they're choosing not to. Like the whole part of like finding the next like focusing and counting to eight and then your laps is like part of high rocks.
I've thought about this before, and I mean, working in the trade that I do, sometimes things get over engineered, where very, very smart people think way too much about a simple thing and make it incredibly overcomplicated.
Mhm.
And I think that might be what's happened with High Rocks here. It's because High Rocks is full of smart people
Yeah.
doing smart things, but these layouts just, it's like they're reinventing the wheel every time.
Yeah, everyone looks different. So do you know, is this two laps like it was before in
I have
Chicago?
no idea,
Okay.
no clue. I'm thinking it's going to be like kind of like because it's like a 2.5 kind of thing.
Because the entrance and exit are different places.
Yeah, yeah, always, yeah, yeah. And you got to pass. I think you got to pass the exit to go to the entrance. I don't know. It's I gotta look at this here because it is definitely a little confusing. But I don't. I still think it's better than those people in Glasgow what they're getting. Theirs is really not going to be a fast course. I think this is the one, maybe. Oh, that was Manchester. That was different still. All right. I will find it. Here we are. Okay. So yeah, it looks to me like from the start, we're gonna come out and yeah, you have to go past the exit before you go to the entrance.
But it's on different sides.
Well, yeah, they're kind of eld from each other. So
Okay.
it's like, so it
So
looks
it's not
like,
going to
but
be a perfect two laps like it was before.
no, I think it's going to be one. So the first lap, I think is going to be, I'm guessing, probably going to be one, two, and like a third. And then the next laps are going to be, oh, sorry, no, 2 and 2/3. And then the next lap is going to be like one, 2 and 1/4, 2 and 1/3. And then your last one will be like one, two, almost 3 full laps.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know.
This is really difficult when you're racing.
Yeah, you need a coach.
Yeah.
Really do. You need a coach out there like going here, 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 just pulling
Mhm.
directions. Yeah, and it is gosh, it's so confusing. It's like when you have your child that you love and he does something really stupid. You're like, I love you. That's stupid. Anyway, it could still be fast.
Yeah.
It could still be a fast course. Oh, and then the wall balls, when you go to it, you don't go in the regular rock zone. You veer off to the left into its own little zone.
Like a finishing shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So you got to remember when you're going for that, because that will be yeah, I'm a little confused already. Good luck.
Oh boy.
Hey, when and we're going to help with the broadcast. We're going to be doing rabbiting. You can do the running part. I'll just stay in the middle and at the zones.
Okay.
And that's not
Just
because I
keep
can't keep up
feeding
on the
me
run.
sugar.
That's not because I can't keep up on the run at all.
And we have an exciting matchup with one of our OFX teammates.
Yep.
So Heather White and Kelly Sullivan are going against Morgan and Callie in the women's doubles, and that's going to be an exciting race.
And there may be some other really good women's teams there too. Again, we don't have a list, but that in alone, if it's just those two, makes for awesome. And I have pretty much decided we're going to live stream that on OFX. We'll either do it on YouTube, probably on YouTube, maybe Instagram, probably YouTube, just because it makes for a better picture. And it's a lot easier for us to interact with people when we do it on YouTube as well. So we'll do that. We'll have our whole crew there and we'll entertain comments while we do it. But I think that's going to be a great race, and that might even steal the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another good one to watch out for too is Rich Ryan and Bracken Crocker will be entering the men's doubles.
Oh, okay.
So that'd be exciting. I don't know much about their competition either, but it'll be nice. Obviously, Rich's abilities go without saying. Deka champion, everything. And this is Bracken's return to competition. Other than a Deka strong he did the other day, which he was just under 14, which means he was in my wheelhouse. I was almost there. Had I beat Bracken, I would have been waving flags. And by the end of the year, I'm going to beat that time he put up. Coming off injury, weak and depleted and untrained. I can get there. And there will be live stream on OCR Report for the main events for the men's and women's. And your commentators will be the aforementioned Bracken Crocker and Hunter McIntyre. So it should be very interesting commentary, at least. I mean, you're not going to get anybody that knows more about High Rocks than Hunter. And Bracken is always a fantastic commentator. So definitely good stuff. And Graham as well will be helping out. So you're going to get good camera work as well. I think it's going to be, I think this will probably be the best High Rocks live stream to date. I don't want to jinx nothing, but I think it's going to be fantastic. Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm ready for the weekend. So, and we as well will be doing our doubles. Riley and I will be doing our fun run. You'll be doing yours. Are you ready? You feeling prepared? Are you guys getting into this competitive? Like,
yeah, we're gonna get a good go. Like, I don't feel super High Rocks prepared just because I've been doing so much Deka. But I'm excited. Hopefully the sleds move.
Well, the weights are lighter. The weights are lighter, and we are going first, which traditionally makes the sleds better because less moisture on the carpet, less stick factor, and all that.
Don't we do the pro women's weights in mixed doubles?
Yes.
So what do you mean they're lighter? Oh, because they've made them lighter.
Well, yeah, and sorry. So I was thinking from my perspective, they're lighter than what I would do normally. So
you would do pro men normally.
Yeah. Well, I would want the extra weight to compensate for my lack of foot speed. But yeah, done a couple sims, feeling okay. Don't expect to light the world on fire, but at the same time, I do expect to have a good time.
Yeah.
And for my first High Rocks, I'm really looking forward to it. I know we've said some things here that aren't really to our liking, but they still put on a great event. It's a good competition. It's a great atmosphere, and I little itty bitty things for next year that could just put it over the moon. I hope they clean up, and I have faith that they will.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So do you have a time in mind? Do you have a time goal?
Like we'd like to be under that 115.
Okay, because that makes sense. Because I'm thinking we could maybe get around under 120, maybe 120,
Okay.
125, depending on how the
Mhm.
rock zone works. We had a pretty solid sim, but we had to cheat a little bit on the running and stuff because it's treadmill and the setup's different and everything like that. So
Yeah. Mhm.
sims are always estimates, but I think we could definitely. I'm going to say let's say between 118 and 122. I think we could
Yeah.
get around there
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
yeah, we'll definitely lose a lot of running on you to you guys, but I think we can like at least I can maybe gain us some ground on sleds.
Yeah. That's true.
Some
Yeah.
sleds and machines, and then yeah, we'll go from there. But maybe farmers carry. I might make some ground on farmers carry.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, have you mapped out? You got your strategy all set? Because we played with some stuff. We did some stuff a little bit different than we thought we would in the beginning. And then
Oh man,
obviously
you've taken this way more seriously than we have been. We're like, we'll talk about it in the car. No,
it is a
we've
long
talked about
ride.
yeah, it's a long drive. We have chatted a little bit about it. We're gonna do a bit of work tomorrow in the gym, and kind of make some decisions about the machines. But otherwise, some of it though is gonna be just on the fly.
Yeah. What I
Mm.
learned during the sims that we did is it's more important to stay fresh than to be fast.
Okay.
Meaning what like on the rower, for example. Like if we were just concerned with the row, I would row the whole thing
Yeah.
and we'd be faster.
Mm.
But to stay optimal fresh for the runs, have to have Rye jump in for a little bit, give me a little rest, and then get back on and then go like that. And I think the whole team thing is just so much like Deka is just so dependent on your team and everybody's strengths and what how it works like that. So, but that
Yeah.
was my lesson. What I think we learned is better to be fresh than fast.
Yeah.
Fresh is fast. There you go.
Yeah, like you can't sacrifice just a faster time at a station,
Yeah,
and then give somebody no rest, I don't think.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of what we talked about too. Like some of them, it would just be faster if Jeff just did the whole thing, but um, he just wouldn't be
Yeah,
recovered enough and then to be able to run at the pace that we want. So
yeah, yeah. So awesome. But you know what? I think that covers it all.
yeah,
Um, we're very excited with the news from Deka, very excited about High Rocks this weekend. All sorts of stuff coming up. We even had the first Spartan race of the year. Congratulations to Kirk and Glenn Rice, who each won. I'm not sure who won the women's on that side, to be honest.
I don't remember the names. Oh,
No,
wait, Faye Morgan
did Faye Morgan go? Good for
was,
her.
yeah, she did the sprint. That's the only name I recognize.
All right. Well, either way, it's
Mhm.
good to have Spartan back on the map. And I
Yeah,
did hear that the penalty loops went over pretty well. And I did when I listened to the running public, Kirk was saying that the new spear throw is much more difficult, even though it's
yeah,
closer. So I'm looking forward to seeing that and giving that a try. So it'll be good fun because it won't be long, and we will be at Brimacombe.
yeah. Mhm.
Awesome. All right, Beth, take us home.
Thanks so much for listening. We are excited to see everybody in Chicago and tune in to the live feed with OCR Report. And we will be running around with our cameras and doing the best job we can. So until next time, crush it this weekend.
Take care.